Hey, Mark J., World's Laziest Networker, coming to you from the Botanical Gardens here in our home in beautiful Kauai. We're so grateful to Network Marketing. The other day I wrote a blog about the fact that we don't make calls. We make 15, 18, $20 million presentations every time we pick up the phone, and that's part of the mindset. See, the subconscious mind makes all the decisions. And things that have been in your head or my head for 20 or 30 years are really going to determine how we feel about a concept or an idea. Now, I know recently Eric Worre and I think Randy Gage got together and they did a conference in Las Vegas, and I understand it was fabulous. Eric's a great contributor to the industry and a great teacher. But I had one tiny problem with it, probably the only thing. And I don't really disagree at all, but I disagree with the vocabulary. And I want to share that with you. In 1971, I was trained by W. Clement Stone. If you don't know who W. Clement Stone is, you should. W. Clement Stone was actually Napoleon Hill's best friend and eventual partner. And while Napoleon Hill wrote Think and Grow Rich and was becoming famous, he never became rich until he met W. Clement Stone. And they wrote several books together, including The Success System That Never Fails. Now, he was a smallish guy. He had a bow tie, and he talked in a high-pitched voice like this. So he comes into the class, and he said, "Who wants to make cold calls?" And, of course, one or two hands went up. And then the rest of us sort of reluctantly raised our hands. And he said, "Okay, put your hands down." He said, "Who wants to make gold calls?" And that's really it. And that's really what I wish that people would get. They are not cold calls, they are gold calls. In your subconscious mind, you do not want to make cold calls. You can go to all the seminars you want and you get all jacked up, but when you get home, you don't want to make cold calls. But you know that you'll make calls if you know there's gold there. And here's the story that I later heard from Napoleon Hill. I really strongly recommend that you get The Science of Achievement. You can get it online for about 50 or 60 bucks or CDs and listen to it. But here's the story that Stone told that day, and it was great to hear Napoleon Hill tell it. He lived in Chicago, and in his neighborhood, there was a professor from the University of Chicago. And he came to W. Clement Stone's office, and he said, "Listen, I want to see Mr. Stone. I'm one of his neighbors," so they let him in. So he sits with Stoney, and he says, "Hey, look, I took a job with an insurance company, and I know that you own an insurance company, and I don't want you to be offended, but I love my job teaching. I just needed to make some extra money, and your company really requires that the agents work full-time. I found something that I could do part-time." And Stone said, "That's good," like he always did. No matter what you did, Stone's answer was, "And that's good. You failed, that's good." Anything was good. So here's the story. He said, "Could you do me a favor, Mr. Stone?" And he said, "Of course." And so he said, "I'd like the names of 10 people that I might be able to sell insurance to, and that would really be a tremendous way for me to start my business." So Stone says, "Sure." He sends him out into the secretarial area, in the waiting area, and then he buzzes, and the secretary comes in, and Stone gives him 10 names. And the guy goes out and sells 8 out of 10 people. So he comes back now, 2.5 weeks later, he comes back, and he brought him a box of cigars. W. Clement Stone loves cigars, and he said, "I was so good, I appreciate that so much. Could you give me 10 more names?" And Stone says, "I really don't have time to do that, but I can show you where I got those 10 names. And the guy said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." And W. Clement Stone reached down, pulled the phone book out, and dropped it on his desk. Think about it. Just think about it. So he told him that he got 1 out of A, 1 out of B, 1 out of C, just randomly went through. And the guy, because he believed that they were worth gold, sold them. So he grabbed 30 or 40 cold leads out of the phone book, never sold another policy again. So the words that you choose, that you attach to the tasks that you need to do, are everything. So make a decision. Are you making gold calls, or are you making cold calls? Are you making $15 million presentations, or are you making "I hope I find somebody" presentations? The real key to this, of course, is we developed a methodology where we could have 25 people a week that own businesses waiting for us to call. If you'd like to know what that method is, just leave me a comment and we'll put a blog up if there's enough interest. A way to have 25, not cold leads, but gold leads a week right in your hometown that you pay zero for. We can show you how to do that. If you leave me a comment and share this, that you'd like that information. Peace be the journey. We'll see you on the beaches of the world. Make gold calls. You'll get rich. Aloha.